Ohana. We're going to be getting into Heartworm today. It is a horror game that I was greatly given a key for from DreadXP. So thank you so much to DreadXP for that key. I do appreciate it. Let me just double check, make sure I checked the game. So let's get into this. Excited. Oh, this is cool. So you have settings: retro, modern. I think we're gonna leave it retro. We've got to. Movement, take, player relative, modern, camera relative. Interesting. Camera relative. Interesting. Okay. Let's begin. This is interesting. I get like old school Resident Evil vibes from it right now. I like the leg tattoo.
Hey. Sorry you haven't heard from me in a while. I've been busy trying to find out about this place. You're not gonna believe me, and I don't even know if I really believe it myself, but I guess a part of me must, because I'm going. It's far, on an abandoned road, a few miles from that power plant in the mountains.
Hi, Timothy.
It was hard to find anything about it. I started on message boards, and I ended up in a chat room talking with people who know people who know people who've gone. They said a lot of crazy stuff, but the one thing that they all agreed on is that in that house, there's a room that can take you to the other side, to see the people that you've lost again.
Like Resident Evil
The thing is,
Silent Hill vibes.
No one who's gone has ever come back, and that's why I'm writing you. Not for advice, not to get you to talk me out of going. Actually, by the time you read this, I'll already be there. I just wanted to let you know, in case I don't come back. That way you won't be wondering where I've gone. Either way, you don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm sorry, but I don't have any other choice. I just can't keep going on not knowing.
Am I? Okay. Is that better? I turned the gain up on my mic a bit. Survival guide. Movement. L moves you around. Okay, you can run by holding X. If you're using modern controls, you'll always run the tools. Oh. I should grab my camera before I go any further. Okay, well, oh, the controls are inverted right now. Got it. Interaction equipment. You interact with many items in the world by pressing A. Some will stand out more than others. You can equip. Yes. So you have to go. So control. Why are the control? I don't like the controls being inverted.
Sometimes I wonder if I spend more time thinking about death than the average person. My grandfather died a while back.
Ma'am, why are you running like that? Can I? Arachnophobia mode, we're turning that on. I like to see that. Let's try modern control type. Always run on.
I know it happens to everyone, but
that's better.
It almost feels like I'm obsessed. It's frustrating. No matter what I try, my thoughts always circle back to the one thing I can't control. My own mortality.
Your own mortality.
I came all the way out here not knowing if I'll get the answers I need. I just hope it's worth it.
Okay. Okay, it's locked. Noticed condemned. So, do I go on the back, baby? It's solidly blocked off. Not getting in here. There's a pile of cut wood. It looks like it's been there for years. So if it's locked, there has to be a way in, right? Diary. Pleasure Beach #1. I finally went to explore Pleasure Beach today. It's been on my list forever, and the forecast was perfect. But unsurprisingly, I ended up being over my head. When I got there, everything was pretty normal. There are folks on the shore having a picnic, enjoying the beautiful summer day, and the usual kids messing around on the playground across the street. I grabbed my camera, locked my car, and started making my way across the land bridge. It took maybe 30 minutes to cross, longer than I expected. The island seemed to be completely empty, so I began searching through the abandoned house, confident in my solitude. So many of them were destroyed. Roofs and walls collapsed from years of disregard. Some houses so decrepit I couldn't even enter. But there was just enough left that I began to really feel bad for these people. They had no time to pack and leave. Family photos were strewn across floors, and belongings were still packed in drawers. I even saw a table like it had been set for dinner, however many years ago. My sympathy turned into suspicion as I ventured further. Many of the houses had the same red graffiti in their attics, markings and symbols I had never seen before. I assumed it was just from kids messing around, but something about it began to trigger my paranoia. I noticed the sun was setting as I reached the end of the residential area. It was strange. I could have sworn it had only been a couple of hours. The last time I checked my watch, it was before noon. But now the clock read 7:30 p.m. I brushed it off just as losing track of time. It was frustrating. I hadn't even gotten to the half the town, but I knew I had to head back. The land bridge would be submerged soon, if it wasn't already. Sure enough, as I turned the corner, where I had entered earlier, I was greeted by nothing but the sea. The land bridge was underwater. I was stuck and alone. Or so I thought. Can we get in through this door? We can! Enter the abandoned house. Survival guide, flash. Some areas too dark to see without help. You can use the camera flash without consuming ammo and by not aiming and pressing RB. We have another diary. Pleasure Beach 2. It was darker than any night I could remember. The island was far off the shore, and that there was no light pollution. In almost no time, I was wandering in pitch blackness. It was cold too. Breeze coming over the water contrasted heavily with the mild weather earlier that day. I didn't have much of a plan, but I knew that if I was stuck, I would have to find a place to stay warm. I made my way back to the houses, which were much, much more terrifying in the night. I turned to look down the street and froze mid-step. I could barely see due to lack of light, but it looked like there was another person standing there, right in the middle of the street, staring at me motionless. I tried to rationalize, but in that situation, my sanity was already being tested. I called out to them with a strained, "Hello?" praying to God that it was just some teenager and not whatever nightmare my mind was conjuring. No response. No movement. Nothing. I looked around and noticed some of the windows in the attics of the houses looked like there was dim candlelight coming from them. Candles, maybe? I had been here all day. I didn't see anyone. It didn't make any sense. As every possible scenario, none of which seemed to end well for me, raced through my mind, one rational thought broke through and reminded me I had my camera. I could trigger the flash on demand without using the little film I had left to illuminate my surroundings. I was so scared. I almost didn't want to. What if there really was something there, and using my camera would only alert it to my presence? Finally, I I pressed the flash trigger. Everything around me lit up, and I saw nothing. The figure in the road was gone. The light coming from the windows, gone. It was just a silent, long dead town, and me. The rest of the night was uneventful. I used my camera flash to navigate the ruins, found the closest house with 4 intact walls, locked the door to one of the bedrooms, and fell asleep against the wall. I woke up the next morning and booked it back across the land bridge. I don't think I'll be going back to Pleasure Beach. Nothing useful in those? Okay, so this is a card I'm gonna have to find, I guess. Well, this one's all lit up. Narcissus and Goldman, Herman Hesse. He thought that all men trickled away, changing constantly until they finally dissolved, while the artist's created images remained unchangeably the same. He thought fear of death was perhaps the root of all art, perhaps also of all things of the mind. We fear death, we shudder at life's instability, we grieve to see the flowers wilt again and again, and the leaves fall, and in our hearts we know that we too are transitory, and will search for laws and formulate thoughts. It is in order to salvage something from the great dance of death, to make something that lasts longer than we do. Perhaps the woman after whom the master shaped his beautiful Madonna has already wilted or dead, and soon he too will be dead. Others will live in his home and eat at his table, but his work will still be standing of hundreds of years from now and longer. It will go on shimmering in the quiet cloister church, unchangingly beautiful, forever smiling with the same sad, flowering mouth. Old books and knickknacks under the shelves, nothing important. Warm, soft candle like this always makes me feel surprisingly calm. Survival guide, item boxes. Inventory space is limited. Item boxes consist of items, so you need them. Each box is connected to every other, so they all show the same items. Best to only carry what you need. How would you like to save your oh, so you save here. Okay. Unintelligible scribble has been scrawled across the notepad. So it is kind of like Resident Evil in that respect, because Resident Evil had the typewriters you saved at. So you save at a computer. A little bit more of a modern twist on Resident Evil. This room is noticeably better kept compared to the others. How would you know? You haven't even been in the other rooms. I'd like to know how she knows. Can we turn this light on? No. Okay. Nothing particularly noteworthy. Okay, well... Oh! Okay. That was a figure. I'm not crazy. Did they leave in a rush? Cabinets of rotten fruit scattered throughout them. You couldn't pay me to open this fridge, not my first rodeo. Another journal. Father's Journal 1. I finally put the pieces together the day you asked where John was. At first I was confused, thinking maybe you forgot his exact address and wanted to send a letter. I laughed and replied with the address of the home our son had been living in for the past 2 years with his wife and her new grandchild. I won't ever forget the look you gave me. Perplexed and confused, you asked, "What is he doing there?" When I told you that you moved there for his job, the expression on your face darkened. I could tell that something wasn't adding up for you, but you just slowly shook your head and walked away. How could you forget that? I knew we were both getting on in the years. Forgetting little things was understandable, but we'd gone to meet our granddaughter only months ago. I wanted to believe it was just a momentary confusion. To this day, I still wish I was right. So where the hell did that figure go? Dirty old couch. Because I saw a figure walk by here. Why does this look like you can go in it? A pretty big fireplace, yeah. Nothing particularly noteworthy. In this door? The closet's full of junk. Okay, so it's just a closet. I guess we're going upstairs because I don't have a code for that room. It's locked. I hear the faint ticking of a clock on the other side. Okay. There's portraits. More unsettling old paintings. This room's fun. Not sure why they even need all these mannequins. This is fun. Balcony looks barely held like it's barely held together. I'm not going out there. It's locked. The pretty heavy-duty one at that. Please don't move. Just don't move. Okay? Don't move, mannequins. Just stay where you are. Why is it always mannequins in horror games? Why? Just why? So, how am I gonna I can't brute force this. There's no way to brute force this. Right? And I haven't seen anything that would give me a code. Oh. Yes, I'll take the bandage. Combining. Select an item from your inventory and choose combine, and select a second item to combine it with. For example, you can see bandages and antiseptic on their own. If you want to create first aid, oh. Just some dining wear. Nice. So now I've got a first aid kit. Oh, this is more of the house. Oh, all these paintings seem to be of the same place. A massive library. This room is a mess. Most of the books are destroyed. Is there anything? Father's journal number 2. We went to see a doctor today at last. It's hard to make it out all the way to the city. When we were younger, it seemed like such a charming idea to have a house so isolated it was our own little world. Now, just getting groceries in town is a hassle. I made the appointment and made sure you were ready to go. I could tell you didn't know why we had to. You didn't think anything was wrong. I've always had my head on the clouds. I'm fine. You're overreacting, you would tell me over and over. I didn't want to think about whether you remembered the reason why this was necessary. We're waiting on the scan results now, but based on how you were with the doctor, I'm not hopeful. You had trouble answering his questions and kept looking to me for answers. God, why is this happening so fast? I held your hand over the stick shift as I drove home while you cried softly to yourself. I can't help but hate myself for thinking it, but I think we're close to the end. How did this happen so quickly? Only months ago, the sound of your singing filled the house. You tidied up, did the dishes, cooked us dinner. Now you barely get out of bed. Something inside of you has broken. Half the time you look at me and see a stranger, but you won't acknowledge it. You just turn over in bed and try to go back to sleep. I wonder what you dream of. I hope it's all the last fragments of our beautiful life together. Okay. So we're talking about somebody having dementia. For sure. This is a bathroom. Definitely a bathroom. Oh, what's that? Yeah, I'll take the antiseptic. You never know what you could need. Of course there's antiseptic in the bath. Of course there's healing items in the bathroom. It's a hover game. But they weren't in the toilet this time. They were in the sink. Which is unusual. I think this is the front door. It won't budge. I should be extra careful around these railings. You can access the map from your inventory by pressing back. New areas enter automatic tracked on there. And you can gauge the level of completion based on the amount of stats covering them. If there's still stats covering the room, there's still more to be done there. Interesting. Okay. Processing your grief, moving past trauma, lots of dusty self-help stuff here, but the bindings look untouched. You can rotate the clock, so the clock's gonna be something important. I unlocked it. So this just brings me back here. So many rooms. I do have to pause here, there, and run ads. I do. But I will see everyone on the other side. Welcome back from ads. Let's get back into this. That's locked. So many rooms. This looks like a bedroom, maybe? Oh. Empty pill bottles and some serious medical equipment. Ooh, a key. Gimme. I got an attic key. Just junk. A huge bed draped in stale sheets that haven't moved in years. All this nice hardwood furniture rotting away. What a shame. Guess the person who lives here didn't think about what he was leaving behind. Well, I got a key. Hopefully this gives me access to something. Oh, yay! Another bathroom in disrepair. Father's Journal 3. I am alone in this house now. All I have left are the keepsakes of a long life together. Oh, Rose. Looking at your young face, smiling and laughing on grainy film is a poison that sours my heart by the day. Seeing you alive, but knowing you're gone is more than I can bear. At least I have our memories. I'm sorry. That sucks. He lost the person he loved. That's kinda sad. Well, you can't go that way. So, if that's locked. So, okay. What am I to do with this attic key then? Oh, another diary. No, it's not. It's a bedroom poem. Only a few days to notice how you used to be. The changes were minor at first. Forgetting your ring, leaving your keys. Staring into nothing like you knew it was coming, and I saw it all too late. The bed you were buried in, trying not to be seen, ghosts and white coasts, what a terrible thing. Strangers' goodbyes, dreams of hearing you sing, the hours burns forever. 12:15. Oh, okay, 12:15 probably is what the clock needs. $12:15. Where was the clock? Is it in here? Yeah. Okay, so... I can never remember. Is the little hand for the hours? That's 12. Is little hand hours and big hand minutes? Damn it, Brimmy, you got me again! Congratulations. What do you want? Brimmy, comes in when horror games are being played. remember. Is Little Head Minutes and Big Hand Hours? Yeah, you are. You are definitely chaos. I got the time from a poem which said 12:15. So that's what I was trying to put on that clock. Master bedroom. I was trying to see if there's anything else in here. It's hard to say if these clothes were ever nice. They're mostly mold now. So there's still static in the dining room, the foyer, and to the attic. I could go into the bathroom. This is the dining room, which I was trying to put 12:15 on this clock, but I'm not good at figuring out which one hand is which. That should be 12. I cannot remember for the life of me. Ah, there we go. Got it.
Huh. 12:15.
Yeah, it was in the poem, Sam. How do you shoot so much video? Look at all these tapes. Oh my god. Holy shit. Will you take the emblem part? The painting, the name Rose is engraved on the bottom. Feels beautiful and sad at the same time. I wonder if Rose is what I need for that thing down in the one area. Oh, I bet you. Bet you Rose is what I need for that lock. Bet you the name Rose unlocks whatever's locked. Space lock. R S. Yeah, let's go. Ooh. The shells are full of stalks and everything's covered in a heavy layer of dust. Couple's lifetime supply of creamed corn. Gross. Survival guide, pushing. You can push some items to new areas when you're close to a push object or prompt will appear. Immerse the object, hold the button to push it. Okay. Simple enough. Look at all this food! I don't like the music got really creepy all of a sudden. The music got super creepy. Oh, what's this? Father's Journal 5. No, 4. I have to get up early to finish packing. I can't sleep. I heard ungodly noises coming from the attic. Going to take a look. I've been up there in years. It's not like I have anything left to lose. Oh, the other piece. Okay, combine. An intricately carved wooden emblem depicting a heart wrapped in thorns. Looks like a rough stone. Wonder where this is gonna go. That's a lot of furnaces. The winters must get cold. I wonder where this emblem's gonna go. Well, I'm gonna go back in here. Because this is a save. This is a save area. I don't need the antiseptic right now. Or that. I don't feel like I need either one of those right now. So we're just gonna go ahead and save, and hopefully I don't need the antiseptic right now. Or the health pack. I hope I'm not making a mistake. And leaving those there. So I need to go. Here? Yes, because I need to get to the attic I have the key. And locked the door with the attic key. I don't need this anymore. Discard it? Sure. Oh. Torn paper. The message seems hastily scribbled. If this is real, if this place is what they say it is, I don't even know how I'll feel. Will it answer questions that Holly and everyone who has lost someone have spent so long asking? And what if it does? Will that change anything? If I don't come back and someone finds this, I tried my best. Well, that's not eerie at all. There's an empty relief where it looks like an object would fit. Placing the heart emblem into the slot seems to unlock the door.
The air feels colder all of a sudden. Something has changed.
Yeah? Hi, Teach.
If I go through this
How
door,
are you?
I may not come back.
Yeah, well, that's a risk we're gonna have to take, huh, Sam? Sam may not come back, guys. Oh, I feel that, Teach. I feel that. Where the hell are we? The fuck kind of place is this? MC Escher's crazy stairs? The knob's totally broken and won't turn. The door looks weak, but there's nothing behind it. Well, where the fuck am I supposed to go then? If I can't go through that door. Make it make sense. Where the fuck am I supposed to go? Oh, well. We're not going back. Because something came out of a portal and is just dragging us to hell. It's not happy, whatever the fuck that thing was. Like that was, but it's not out there. Oh! Turn around! God damn it, turn around! There's a fucking hand coming out the door! Stop staring at the fucking turn around, you dumbass! Why? Hello, freaky thing. Oh, right, now the TV's growing hands. Now one with the television and covered in static. Okay, I'm not sure where we are now.
What just happened? All those stairs and what was that thing chasing me?
I don't know.
Now I'm somewhere. If this is the afterlife, it's not what I was expecting.
Was anyone expecting it?
Regardless of my expectations, I can't go back the way I came. Good. I'm not leaving until I get answers.
You really think you're gonna get answers, lady? Look, a massive ancient-looking tome with pages torn out of the middle. I can't make out the text. The letters look like nothing I've seen before. Well, you know, considering that book's chained up, I don't think it's a good thing. Just saying. Combine you with the camera. I don't know what cigarettes are gonna do for us, but we're just gonna save and take our cigarettes with us. Oh, what's over there? Hold on. What is this? There's a book here that's mostly birds, but I can make one line out. Go on without you. You weren't supposed to go first. I don't know what to do now. Oh, okay. So this is a chess game. I'm wondering if we're gonna find something that I'm gonna need to move pieces around. It's gonna tell me what pieces need moving where. The gate will budge, there's no obvious way to open it. Right. There are no titles. I'm gonna take one out and try and open it. The pages are stuck together. Is this the way I came? No, it wasn't. What's that? What are you? There's a slot here. It looks like something can be inserted, and it's vaguely reminiscent of a picture frame. I wonder what the screen above it does. Maybe I can find something that goes in here. Okay. It's heavy and won't open. Seems jammed. Got a mysterious picture frame. Locked doors. Okay. Well, I guess I can only go one way. Thank you for the drink, Kaiser. I will grab that now. And the posture check. And give me 2 seconds. When I get back, I'll explain. Okay, I'm back. So, Mothership and I found a cat. Well, not a cat, a kitten. The kitten was dumped at Mothership's work last night, and we managed to get it and bring it home. The kitten's currently in my room, curled up on my bed, and took a little bit of a tumble off my bed because the kitten was asleep and just kept slowly inching their way off the bed in their sleep. So I was checking to make sure the kitten was okay. Kitten's fine. But yes, there's a kitten aiming. Once you've equipped the camera in your inventory, ready it by holding LB. Hi, Zoe! How are you? Oh, I am good. We are checking out this horror game that I was given a key for from DreadXP. I really don't know anything about it. For those who don't know, Zoe here is my mobile parent. I am alive and exist because of Zoe. So, televisions are going to be a big thing. It seems like. That's just great. Key. Yes, I'll take the house key. Leave me alone! Why are you not picking up the thingy that's shiny? Run! Oh, fuck. Oh, this is just crap. Oh, there's stuff up there. Fuck, there's stuff in the bird. What do you mean? Hold on. Yes, I'll take the fucking film. What's
My
that?
friend Sally lived here with her parents until her mom passed. She was a few blocks away, though. It wasn't this close.
Why is the house, like, flooded? Why is that? Like, something shifting under it? I can't tell. It's stopped. Oh, no! Go away! Leroy, why are you saying the same twat thing twice? Are you okay? Stop, hundreds of masks, they look identical. Why is everything flooded? I remember when Sally's mom was sick, then they said she accidentally drowned. I figured it out as I got older though. Oh no. The handle's broken. So Sally's mom killed her. Oh, that's just lovely. This? Oh, come on! Now I gotta find the house this key goes to. Can't go that way. Don't notice me, don't notice me. Is right. This place down the street that got robbed when I was a kid. Kept me up scared for weeks. Baseball field.
Oh. This place. I never came back after what happened. I'll never forget that day.
Do I wanna know? Well, there's a candle inside, but I can't reach it through the bars. So, I've got to find a way to lift this. I see a key. Oh, it's a bat! Never mind. I do have to pause because ads are due, but I will see everyone on the other side. come back from ads. I've got to figure out what the heck to do here. Because I can't pick up the bat. And I don't know where the house is that needs this key. Well, can't go that way. And that wasn't the house. This way. Maybe it's back this way. Is it this house, maybe?
My grandparents' house. Or rather, my house.
I have a real bad feeling about whatever's on the other side of this fence.
Everything here feels so familiar, but wrong somehow.
Unlock the door with the house key. Okay. There we go. We're making progress. What is this? From the Office of Academic Affairs. To whom it may concern, we have received your request to appeal for the readmission to the university and unfortunately have decided to uphold our original ruling. While we pride ourselves on our support of our students and are sympathetic to the circumstances you are going through, we cannot make exceptions as it will be unfair to the rest of the student body. The GPA and attendance standards set must apply to all regardless of their personal issues. Admission will consider re-enrollment if the student enrolls at another college or university and maintains a 3.0 GPA for a full semester with adequate attendance. We recommend South Central Community College for local students. Decision is final. Best wishes, A.D. Hughie Deck. Just more static. Every TV seems the same here. What in the world?
This hallway led to my bedroom, my sanctuary. As weird as it is, those lit windows feel comforting, like coming home.
That's a weird ass hallway. Weird as fuck hallway. Chess for beginners. The king is the most valuable chess piece in the game of chess. Can move left, right, up, down, diagonally. Can only move one square at a time. Object of the game is to checkmate, play it, capture the king. The bishop, the knight, the rook, tactics. Tactical puzzles are often found on chess columns or magazine. Task player to find the best move or sequence of moves, usually leading to a grain of material. A mate or a gain of material from a given position. Mate. Oh! This is the... Shit. This is what I need for probably the chessboard. It's been a long time staring out this window, wishing for things to be normal, wondering why we're born to suffer. So, I'm guessing I have to capture the king. Shit. not good at chess. Fuck. Anyone here good at chess? Cause I'm not. No, I got it, apparently. What the fuck is that? Camera mods. Some items can be used to modify your camera. Only one camera mod can be active at a time. Oh. Something I was reading the other day. Because the world is so full of death and horror, I try again to console my heart and pick the flowers that grow in the mists of hell. I think it looks just I left it earlier today. Was I even today? So why do I still have this? I'm curious. I'm not in the mood. Why do I still have this house key if I don't need it? Doesn't seem like I need it. I've already unlocked the house. I'll have to come back for that camera mod though. Oh, there's no going that way. And it won't open. Boxes labeled JR Tools, probably also being left out. So why do I still have this house key? It's not like I need it anymore, right? Let's go get that camera mod. Exciting things! We're guessing all the things. Yeah, but burst mod. A plaque they gave to my grandfather. There was a bat, but it's missing. Oh, I gotta get the bat from the baseball field. Combine burst mod with camera. Burst fire. Very nice. So I can't even save here? Bleh. Hi, Shadow. How are you? let's keep going. I now have space though, I can go get that bat. So I can get that bat from the baseball field. Curious what burst mod's gonna do. I'm not sure what that does, but okay. Get away from me! Don't need this anymore, I can discard it, cool. Oh, I'm sorry, you got a doll! But I appreciate you coming and saying hi. Ooh! Obituary. JR, age 68, beloved husband, father, and grandfather, died unexpectedly. Sunday, June 25th, 1994, JR was born in the Bronx and lived in Bridgeport for 63 years. He retired in 1991 after a long engineering career at Burke and Palmer Court. After retiring, he spent his idle time at the beloved Platte St. Deli. He loves baseball, playing for the Burke and Palmer Diehards and coaching North End Little League from 1978 to 1985. JR was also a member of the chess club at Sacred Heart University. Many remember him as an instrumental in the support and preservation of an underrepresented community and neighborhood, one where he and his white wife, Joan, raised a loving family. He's survived by 3 loving and devoted sons, 5 cherished grandchildren, and several nieces and nephews. Funeral services will be held Thursday. The rest is torn off and missing. The light coming from below is blinding. How do I get up there, though? Because I want whatever's that is. Aha! Oh, shit. There we go. Brute force it! Stitch just plays with buttons and Stitch wins. Will you take the camera bag? Yes. I kept the camera bag and can carry. Fuck yes! More inventory. Let's fucking go. We love more fucking inventory space. It's stuck so much. Ah! The video TV! TV sticking out the ground. Barry the light comes from bright and paint in the sky. Won't let me near the television. Fine. Fuck off then. Back to the baseball field. I need to get that baseball bat. Because I know that there's a baseball bat out here. baseball bat time. Can I beat these things back with the baseball bat? I wonder if I can actually beat the cage with it. Yes. I don't need to use this. Okay, fine. I want this. But how the fuck am I gonna get it? Why is there a red one? I did something. Ah! I guess I'll go back to my house then. Because obviously taking pictures of them is not the solution. I guess the solution is putting the bat back on the plaque, maybe? That's the only solution I can really think of. No! No! Yes, and see if that's the solution. I do like the mechanic that the camera is kind of like your weapon. It's an interesting mechanic. Hello. Bats. What the fuck did I just get? A model train? Where the fuck's a model train gonna go? See anywhere to put a model train? I'm so confused. Because there's nothing in here that needed a model train. Obviously, I'm not supposed to go back here. Where? Is there another place for this model train? Like another house, maybe? Aha, there is another house. What is this? Journal entry number 1. This is it. I've made it. All those hours spent searching for anything, even just rumors about where this place was. But in the end, it's all worth it. I'm not leaving without answers. I still can't believe what she did to me. Not even leaving a note. We were all just supposed to move on and forget about her. I can't do that, and she should have known that. That's not who she raised me to be. Now that I'm finally here, I'll get my answers and my closure. Here I come, Mom.
This doesn't make any sense. Is this the same room as in that house?
No, it doesn't make any sense. Huh. An engine from model train set still looks like it functions. So now I've got to figure out where this model train goes. Well, I can't go to this house. Can I go to this place? Something is stopping me from opening it. I can go in that door. The creepy static door I can go in. Cool. Was this in that old house? Weird that it's here too. Snow! Red static is all I can see through a crack. They won't budge. Why is there snow inside a house? Why is it snowing indoors? Now it's snowing, huh? I'm so confused. Oh, fuck. Dealing with grief. Thank you for choosing this space to honor your loved ones. The grieving process can be a little bit difficult, but for many, simple rituals can provide profound comfort. There's no correct way to grieve. We have these hopes from the following methods to at least ease the pain. Lighting a candle and dedicated a memorial space. The rest of the pamphlet is illegible, so I've got to get that candle. Fuck off. Fuck off. What is that? Just snow on the screen. Oh! That immobilized it! What is this? Yeah, I'll take the first aid kit. No, you're not touching me.
I haven't thought about this place in years. When I lived here, it was definitely dingy, but I don't think it was quite this bad. Although I wasn't paying too much attention back then. The divorce was distracting all of us.
Divorce, you say? I heard that thing. Okay, I made it disappear for now. No, I did not. Okay, immobilized. Phew. What are you? Yes, I'll take the bandage. Oh, don't tell me to go back up. My old room, I'm decorated just like it was when I lived here. This is just where I slept. Home was with my grandparents. Bathroom. I'm confused. This way? Oh shit. Where the fuck did it go? Phew. The door to our old apartment. I wasn't crazy about living with my dad. Thankfully, it was short-lived. My grandfather stepped in. An all black budge. Store's locked. I don't think I've ever met these neighbors. Washing machine. Why is there random possums everywhere? My dad hated laundry day here. Half the machines are always broken and my clothes never fully dried. What is with the possums? This is the second one I found. Welcome back. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck's with the random ass possums I keep finding. This is the second one I have found. Ooh, hold on. Shiny. Candelabra, it's cemented in place. The wick looks burnt but usable. I don't have my lighter with me. This is where that kid lives. His parents were devastated when he fell. No one would give me the details. What an awful way to go. I remember the apartment here being cramped, but not this cramped. I wonder what's different here. Right, now I have to go all the way back and get my fucking lighter. This will go to the main hallway, but I won't budge. I don't remember how I did this. How I got here. What's this house? Go this way. Now I've got to find the house where I left my lighter. It was this one. I feel stupid. I shouldn't have left the lighter, but I didn't think I needed it. camera back out. I just want to combine these two. There we go.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. I love you.
Love you
now
too.
back to our show.
Cheeky little save. Now I have my lighter. Now that I have my lighter, I should be able to light that candle. Not that I know what it's gonna do, but there's a reason for all of these little things. So I'm gonna assume the lighter is something important. Well, not lighter, but the candle. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. We dodge them. This way. I'm hoping this is something good. Candle's lit. It feels like something changed, but not here. What the fuck changed? Do you think I can get that candle now from the baseball field? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's what changed, was I had to come out here and get that candle. Well, not well, that one, but then there's another spot that says something about candles and grave. Look at you just floating in the air. Aren't you special? Ross door won't move. I was over here and I saw a candle in the window. Go away! Go away! Three candles on the funeral home. The window weren't open. Fuck! And there's only one candle lit! The monsters are angry. That door won't budge. I'd like to know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with this toy train. wonder... Well, if it is the baseball field that changed... If you had to guess, you might Gigi. God damn it. I'm wondering if there's not like a model train spot somewhere where it's missing that one piece. That's about the only thing I can think of. Alright, we're gonna see. No! That's not what changed. So, I'm wondering if it's the friend's house that's changed then. Because the friend's house was flooded. That's the only other thing I can think of. Is that the friend's house changed? Making you have to use that. No, not the front house. So what changed? We'll figure it out after this break because ads are due, and I will see everyone after the ads. welcome back from ads. I have no idea what's changed. But we'll figure it out together, won't we? Maybe her house changed? I don't know, game. Well, this is gonna just take me back to her bedroom, isn't it? This just takes me back to her bedroom. Possum again! What is with the possums? I have no way to get the candle. This mysterious choo-choo train. I am thoroughly confused. Can I go further? It looks like I can go further. Question is, how much further? There's a purple cube up there! What? What's this? Underpass power. She cannot speak or sing, and yet has nothing to be moved. She thrives inside the void of time while we fear the unknown. She trolls the darkness patiently, nimble but with might, and Mortifies' instinct guides her hunger through the night. She paints majestic tapestry with nature as her brush, yet we will keep our distance, panic if we touch. For us, we cower pitifully, even fearful young and old, yet pray one day will garner strength to escape her stranglehold. It's roasted shell. Well, so there's more to explore in this neighborhood. There's more to explore in the corner store. There's more to, okay, there's a lot more to explore. Got it. Where it's completely destroyed, there's no getting past. Oh, you wouldn't leave me alone! Weird static ghost. Can guess back to the corner store? Since corner store still has stuff to explore in it. That's all of those taken care of. Lots of the pretty heavy duty one at that. Well, what else am I supposed to do? Cash register, leave it be. So why is the corner store still showing like there's stuff to explore in it if I don't have a key? Seems fresh, it's just restocked. Oh! Film. I've now finished the corner store. Got it. Finishing the corner store was just getting the film. No, I haven't. It's still got static. Okay. Stitch is very confused. And I've got static at the water hat. I've got static everywhere, pretty much. I think I saw film in the water house. Blaring static, some shifting under it, I can't tell. Well, okay. And it says there's more, the water house upstairs is still incomplete. There's a candle up here? The handle's broken. Oh, there is. The candle is lit. It feels like something changed, but not here. Okay. That looks like I've now finished the water house. I have. Okay. Making some progress. Now, the safe room also has unfinished in it. I'm guessing I've got to think. Oh, what's this? Maybe I wander into the dark, creepy woods, staying the light seems to save for bed. Okay then. I've still got to figure out how to get that candle out from underneath. Now why does this say, oh, because just film. Got it. The safe room still says there's stuff unfinished on it. That doesn't make any sense. Same with the corner store. And now the water house is saying it's incomplete. There's also something incomplete in the gap. There's a lot of incomplete. Okay. The garage too. I want to know what the water house is saying it's incomplete now. a light coming from below. Ah! The Mara train! What's that? A key? Padlock key? Is that for the deli? I wonder if that's for the deli. It still says the garage is unfinished. This is so frustrating. Very frustrating when the game says, oh, this is unfinished, but you feel like you finished it. Well, we'll see if this is for the deli. Can't use it here. Well, where the fuck do I use the fucking padlock key then? Do I use it in the fucking baseball field? Because it's the only other place I can think of. He's here. I don't need to use this right now. Oh, you gotta light up the... Oh my god, I'm so stupid. First. Second. Third. Come on! Well, that's that done. There's nothing else here. That's the baseball field sorted. Well, the candle anyway. It just keeps saying incomplete. I don't know why. Where does this padlock key go? Does it go to the fence that we don't really want to touch. Okay. All we keep saying is I'm really bad feeling. Aha! Yes, discard it. Will you take the garden photo? Yes. Well, that took care of a lot. A lot of static has now been resolved. And I think I know where the garden photo goes. Maybe I don't. I thought I did. I thought I found the neighborhood. I can't make out what it is, but I feel sad looking at it. I thought the garden photo was gonna go back in that castle we were in. I'm so confused now. Because I've not found anywhere for a photo to go. Safe room's now not staticky. The baseball field is still staticky. Why is the baseball field still staticky? Same with the corner store. And also the garage. I'll check the garage again. What am I missing? Because this was the train. This was to get upstairs. Boxes full of old toys. We have ads due in 9 minutes. I'm going to pause here and run ads, and I will see everyone on the other side. welcome back from ads. Let's get back into this. I wonder if the candles that I've lit were to let me into that place that said I couldn't go in there because... And there were like candles in the window? I wonder if I have to go back there. Back off! Fuck off! How many candles have I lit? 3? Oh god, there's one in the wall now! Fucking Spider-Man up here! Aha! Well. It comes for us all. The recliner next to the fireplace that made the earpiece squeak is now in the now silent living room. The side of the house where the shock rots under the moss-laden tarp. The garden that no longer blooms. Our graves don't lie just in cemeteries, they surround us. And our homes are the hosts. So wherever you are, know it's never too far. And remember, one day you will find all the places you loved filled with ghosts. Whew! Wow. That can't be further, that can't be more truthful. Phew. Another locked door. Eyeball? That's an eyeball! Hi. No, why are we getting in the casket? Why did we get in the casket? What the fuck? Why would you do that? Journal entry number 2. Okay, this is all wrong. These are places I've lived or where terrible things happen to me or my loved ones, but they're all twisted and wrong. And those things chasing me, they kind of look like me. Are they angry ghosts? Is one of them mom? Ugh, it's not like I expected this to be easy, but this is another level. It's too late to turn back now, though. Dark Souls travel marred my ass. No sane person just crawls into a fucking casket. This place looks familiar. Can't remember what it was though. Art Bod, welcome back. We are open. Sile. Storefront's almost too pretty for this street. This store reminds me of the one I like to go to back home. Oh. Not getting through this, no getting through this door. Is there anywhere I can go? This door's boarded up completely. Okay. It's locked. Can I go anywhere? feel like maybe I've been here before, but the door won't budge. Right. It's just great. A coffee shop. It's about it's abandoned. Like a used cup. Can I go anywhere? Are there any places on... Fuck you. Get into. The fuck is all this? It's another safe house. This time there's nothing written, no messages though. What am I to do with this garden photo? Huh? So this is a safe house. Can I go up here maybe? The door's latched on the other side. Fuck off with that nonsense! No, no, no! Can I go in here? I'm unable to open it. I think there's some kind of office. Am I guessing in this? Where the fuck can I go? Why did I come here with a fucking coffin if I can't go anywhere? Bullshit. That looks empty. Too dark. Another corner store. And this one's locked.
I've been racking my brain, trying to figure out why this city feels familiar. I think we may have come here when I was a kid. My whole family. Probably one of the last times we ever did something all together. The memory's so foggy. I think we came to visit a distant family. I remember playing in a warehouse and getting in trouble. It was so long ago. I can't tell if I'm just making up the details.
Okay. Can you go inside this door? No. Where the fuck is this leading me to? This is a fucking truck. That's what that is. A fucking truck. I can get in this. I don't know where we're going or what this is, but this is where we're going. Oh, we're in the warehouse. How do they ever get things down from the top? These shelves seem impossibly tall. Pressing these doesn't do anything. These boards aren't well secured. I bet I could prop them off the door frame with something. Ooh. Crowbar, perhaps? I see you, Crowbar. I'm coming for you. I don't know how. Oh, that lets... Oh. Okay. Oh shit, well, not going back that way now. Oh, what the fuck? Go away, giant static man! I don't like it! Fuck you, giant static man! How do I get the crowbar? Oh, I gotta go this way. Gibba. Gibba. We're away from giant static man. Yay. Yeah, this. Crowbar. Oh. Well, I'm out of a crowbar. Oh. When you guarding. Just blocking off the rest of the alley, right? No, I'm not going that way. I'm not going that way at all. It's not any more this way. No, there's a boss. Oh, office building, apartments maybe? I can't make it out on the inside. No, there's no going this way. It's jammed, but the other door looks like I might be able to open it. I used the crowbar to power up the door. I don't think I'll need this anymore. Okay. Why are we breaking and entering in a bus? Are we gonna drive the bus? Bus driver, move that bus! What's hissing? Something's hissing, and I don't like it. Giant purple diamond thing! Ew! It's probably a spider! Because I have arachnophobia about it! I'm pulling hell on now! Not gonna lie, I'm really glad I have it on there, because if it isn't, it's probably a giant spider, and honestly, no, thank you, no man. Fuck that shit. Fuck you. Oh god, there's little babies! What am I supposed to do? Imagine taking pictures of a giant ass spider. I don't have any healing stuff. I'm gonna fucking die here. Yeah, you climb up your fucking building. You fuck off. No, not the babies! Oh, film's really gonna fucking help me right now. Thank you. Get more shot! you. Fuck you. Yeah, you fuck off. You go back to whatever hell you crawled out of. Neighborhood page has been added to your inventory. Ring, 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 good night. We're somehow back here again. Can I get the text? Can I put that page in there? Oh, I can. Well, I'm almost dead, but I managed to not die. Good. This is... I bet you I have to play chess. Bet you that's what I'll have to do. I have to play chess. And I'll have to win. I will be right back. I have to pause here and I will be right back. Sorry, I'm back. Yes, hi Taz, thank you for the raid. I appreciate you, dear. I am sorry that I was, thank you for the drink and posture check. Sorry that I was a little, AFK, as I said earlier at the start of stream, the cat distribution system decided that Mothership and I were grand recipients of a cat. Well, not a cat, but a kitten. And she just woke up from a nap. And, well, because Mothership just got home from work. So I was giving her dinner and trying to get her to settle down. I think I've gotten her, hopefully, to settle. I'm not 100% sure. I'll just say I hate chess. Take diagonally, thank you. How am I supposed to... I don't know how I'm supposed to win this, but I'm supposed to win this. Supposed to win this, I don't know how. I know you can't. I don't know how I'm supposed to win this. This is why I haven't played chess in a very long time. Is it obvious? Okay, whatever. I have something. But I'm thinking that goes there. Why? Why does it have to turn out this way? It's all so painful, and I can't get a moment of rest. Everything here is out to get me. This place is quiet though, maybe I can just rest here. My heart hurts, I don't want to go home. So you have to get different photos, okay. Got it. Different photos give you, I guess, different bits of lore. I don't know where we're going. Looks like we're going into the woods now. Door! Huh? Huh? No, it was Kacher. You were right. You had it right the first time. It's Kacher. It's not nature, it's Kacher. Something watches you from the bushes. Oh, fuck. What is this? How heavy are these days are? Harmon Hess. How heavy these days are. There's not a fire that can warm me, not a sun that to laugh with me. Everything there, everything cold and merciless. And even the beloved clear stars look desolately down, since I learned in my heart that love can die.
My grandfather used to take me hiking here as a kid. I kept coming on my own after he passed. It was a grounding experience. Something to get me out of my own head. My memories here are good, for the most part, but I stopped hiking here after some bad ones.
What the heck? Welcome to Devil's Den? Huh? Beetlejuice, is that you? parking lot switch marker. Survey the stars. Cetus? Ancient Greek sea monsters known as cetus were terrifying abominations, sometimes described as serpents with the head of a boar, and other times as a whale-like creature with wide, massive tails. All descriptions of them imply their size was behemoth, larger than the largest ships, their heads alone spanning over an estimated 50 meters. That's a thing. Why do I feel like we might need that later on in the game? What is this? A wall of cars? Yeah. It's a wall of cars. What's this? Boop. Hey look! It's fish! Can you go fishing? Cannot fish in the game. I definitely don't feel like going for a swim right now. I wasn't saying going for a swim. I was saying fishing. Thank you. What the? Okay. It's locked with an old padlock. Yeah, I've got more film. So I guess I got to find a key to unlock this. Trail in here, so the trees get pretty dense, I'll just stick to the paths. Yes, I'll take the antiseptic. So I've got to find a key for this padlock. Going out into the wilderness. Nothing to worry about, right? You'll be fine, right? Nature. This is fine, right? What the fuck? Oh god! It's not fine! That was not fine! That was not okay! Fork! This doesn't look like a fork! Sigh. Serve the stars, Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia, Andromeda's mother and queen of Ethiopia, has a mysterious past. She is known most for her claims that she and her daughter Andromeda were far more beautiful than the Nereid of the sea. Her hubris and vanity brought Poseidon to invoke the wrath of a sea monster on the kingdom of Ethiopia. Cassiopeia consulted a sage who foretold that the only way to subdue Poseidon's wrath was to give her daughter as a sacrifice. Left without options, as her kingdom continued to be battered by the sea, she changed Andromeda to the rocks, offering her to Cetus. I didn't know there'd be nudity in this game. Boobies. Anyway. Yep, titty in your Christian stream. Oh no. Not a maze. Hell, that was it. Just making all sorts of noise as it is. Woo! Fuck you for spooking me. That thing came out of nowhere. How dare it? Oh. What the hell? Oh, what's that? Yes, I'll take the antiseptic, thank you. I'm so lost. Can you tell? No. There's two of them. Two of these bitches. You gonna move too? No? Cool. The fuck is this? The inside of the basin is stained with a dry, deep red coat of something. It smells terrible. Yeah, I think I know what it's stained with. You want to take a guess what it's stained with? This is the library. Yes, I'll take the bandage. Give me the first aid kit. Take a guess what it's probably stained with. And I'll give you a hint. It's not cherry Kool-Aid. That's your hint. So many books, the titles are illegible. running around? Yes. I guess she's gonna stay quiet. Good. That's a library. I'm so confused. I guess this doesn't go anywhere? Okay, so if the library is that way, then I want to go this way. Aha! Once upon a time, this was probably a nice kitchen. Oh! This poor doll. I remember finding her just like this in the woods one day. That's why I stopped coming here. There was a box standing over her, as if in mourning. I wonder what happened to him. So, you don't change what you say. The wood is rotten and swollen shut, it won't budge. Another possum! What is with the possums? Okay, you're broken. I'd like to know what's with the possums. I'd like to know why I keep saying the possums randomly in this game. Aha! I see another one. You gonna come to life? Cool, no. An old rusty chain wrapped around the handle, still too strong to break with my bare hands. This goes to the library. So I need something to break that handle with. More film? Sure, don't mind if I do. And I can't go that way. Where am I now? Box maze. crystal clarity, they can be loud enough to move. I'm gonna have to leave and reset it because I didn't do it right. If it resets, it does. Okay. So I want to push this one. This one needs to go up here. These switches are for, but I'll figure it out. You better not move, you bitch. Well, that's cleared. I feel like I'm supposed to do something with this door, but I'm not sure what. I don't have anything to put in the basin. So coming back to the library is kind of frivolous at this point. going this way. Heart. What? The dark heart of the wood, grotesque and petrified, lays hidden from the world, a shell of what's inside. But if nature's bounty lends its soul, and heaven's power makes it whole, those who search will no doubt see the present, past, and what will be. No! How? You're a whore! Why is it shiny? There's something seriously wrong with this image. Is the heart keeping the tree alive or the other way around? Gigantic heart wedged between the roots of the tree like they grew together. It's not beating and there are tendrils. Veins, maybe, spreading up both sides deep into the forest. It seems to be connected to this mechanism and something is stuck inside. But it doesn't seem like there's any way to operate it. No. Are they spies?
All this beauty, fed by decay. I can never look at it the same again.
Cool. There's a hexagon-shaped hole, no other way to interact with it. Right, I don't have anything for the hexagon-shaped hole. Oh, we've got a diary. Journal entry 3. There's only doubt in my mind that this is not the afterlife that has been laid to rest. It's useless to try and figure out what this place is, though. I have to use everything I have to just keep going. Whatever these monsters are, they're relentless. And that thing guarding the tome page almost took me out for good. But one thing's for certain, it's that mom isn't here. That doesn't matter anymore, though. I have to escape. I'm not counting for that my chances. This place isn't giving up either. That just brought me back here. Okay. I do have to pause here though because ads are due, but I will see everyone on the other side. welcome back from ads. Let's get back into this. So that's gonna take me to all that nonsense there. So I don't know where this will take me. What are you? Will you take the water? Yes, give me the fucking key. Safe room. Hello again, old friends. Let's save. There's no way I've only been playing this for 2 hours. No way! Not when I've been live for 3, almost 4. Let's go into the watermill then. Since I've got the key for it. Yeah, you know what? Watermill. Go to the watermill. Not get distracted. Huh? I'm so confused. Did I go through the door to go to the watermill? Or is this just a... Huh? Okay. Please take me back to the watermill. Yes, it will. Good lord. Good, 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 good. There should be the watermill now. This is the watermill. I'll log to the watermill key. Do this anymore, just got it, yes. Okay, we've got a note. Watermill poem. Create a memoir absolute while those you love don't ever have a chance to read it. Ever along the time, in the end we all become the tides. Give way to what will you keep you. Fully youthful and defeated, don't ever let them make you say goodbye. Ever along with the time, in the end we all become the tide. Fortune a world without reason or rhyme. So let's just see. don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Breaking a oil lantern on some canned food. Possum! Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do in there. With the piano. I can see the waterfall through the window. Mum's a little cabin my grandfather used for fishing trips. Some books, some old pots and food, canned food. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. It don't make much sense. Why was there a piano? Very confusing. Well, there's that switch. Yes, the wall of cars, and I can't get through them. It's just a big old loop.
Of course it's off-leash dogs. Can't escape them?
So if I go back down here, is that gonna be the it's gonna be the safe room? Yeah. I'm gonna actually end here though, because I'm actually getting hungry and I have not had dinner. So we are going to go ahead and find somebody to raid. Let me just go ahead and get out of the game first. There we go. Okay, we are going to go find somebody to raid because I need to go have dinner. Let's see who's on that we can send a raid to. It is neat. I'm enjoying it so far, honestly. And we will be continuing it next week. I know who we're gonna go raid. We're gonna go raid, we're gonna go raid Liana. If you're not sub, this is a raid message. If you are sub, this is a raid message. Let me do this. I'll be that down. Go give Leon all the love. I will be back tomorrow, around 4 PM Eastern. See what I have on schedule for tomorrow. Not. Give me a second. I'm not really sure what I have on my schedule for tomorrow. Alice Madness Returns. We'll be playing Alice Madness Returns tomorrow. But do remember that you are loved, you are valid, and you matter. And do something to make someone smile today. Tell someone you love them. I love you, my Ohana. You have a great night. Do go give Liana all the love, and I will see you all tomorrow.